After a few days in Monterrey, Mexico, I finally made it to Mexico City. All the culture and things to do here make it one of my favorite cities in the whole world, so I'm hoping I can find some retro gems. Hey guys, so right before the Mexico City trip, I took a detour to Puebla, Mexico. It's about 2 hours away from Mexico City, and I went to a flea market called San Martin Texmelucan, and it's supposed to be the biggest flea market in Latin America. I got it on an off day. I got in on a Tuesday, and besides this cool Mario slot machine gambling device, I didn't really find anything here, but it was cool visiting Puebla regardless, and I highly recommend it. But on the way back, at the bus station, I was really curious. There was one little retro stand inside the bus station on the way back from Puebla. So I checked it out, of course, and he had a lot of great retro stuff. As you can see, a bunch of prototype figures, Atari stuff, Sega Master System. He had a pretty good collection, and he had just opened this stand here in a station called Capu, C-A-P-U. It's the bus station here in Puebla, Mexico. So I started looking around and seeing if there was anything that I would like to buy, and I did find a few items. I was interested in Waterworld for Virtual Boy and the Sega Master System controller. I was able to make a deal on Waterworld.
Well, I wasn't expecting to buy any games at the bus terminal, but that little stand was pretty cool. I ended up buying Waterworld for Virtual Boy for a good price. So I guess now we go to the hotel.
It's beautiful weather here in Mexico City, and I am taking a walk around Palacio de las Bellas Artes, and I'm going to take the metro system down to one of my favorite places that I always go to when I'm here in Mexico City, and that's the Toy Museum, the Antique Toy Museum here in Mexico City. It's a great place. I recommend you come when you come to Mexico City. They have every single toy from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. You can see they have some Atari stuff. They have very few video game stuff because it's more antique toys than anything. But you can see they have a lot of toy car stuff. Only thing I saw Nintendo was this NES in-box action set. But you'll see some more modern stuff like the Batman and Turtles toys. They do work off of donations and private collections. So as you can see, they have a lot of Barbies, a lot of old Lucha Libre, Mexico culture toys, and that's what's cool about this. You really get to see what kind of toys were popular in Mexico during that time, the 60s, 70s, and some 80s. But you can spend hours in here just looking at every single toy. It's really involved when it comes to time periods and whatnot. At the end of the museum, there's a shop, and this is where I saw these Commodore / Famicom games. I didn't take any, but it's interesting to see that those were actually there, and it's always fun to see stuff like that. So as with every Mexican city, you'll notice that I've been going to freaky plazas inside the Plaza de la Tecnología. It's those shops where they have all gaming stuff and tech stuff, cell phone supplies. So first stand I see is this guy. He has a ton of stuff. So he starts taking out, the good stuff. This Western Bar Casio LCD game is pretty rare, pretty hard to find. He has a bunch of Game & Watch, Oil Panic, the Snoopy one, and he wanted 800 for each, 800 pesos. So that's about it's about $45. Beetlejuice, and then he has the Micro Versus systems, the Game & Watch ones. I needed Killer Instinct Gold for a friend, so between the Western Bar, the Killer Instinct Gold for N64, Beetlejuice, Double Dragon 3, the Micro, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what I'm gonna take. He has his Pokemon Tamagotchis, so I did make a deal on some stuff, which I'll be showing you later. This next stop here, this guy had some pretty good games at pretty good prices. He had Conan the Barbarian. He had this multi-cart, which it's the 8-in-1. It's not the 190-in-1. And he had the converter with the Famicom Mario 3 knockoff, which I always like to collect. So I did make a deal there as well. I'll be showing you all that later. And as you can see, there's stand after stand of just things you want to buy. You just want to buy everything inside these Friki Plazas. And everybody's willing to make a deal. Everybody's nice. Everybody's helpful. Everybody's like-minded when it comes to collecting and playing video games. So it's a really cool vibe in these plazas because, everybody's like you. There's a lot of NES stuff, which is, it's not easy to find, especially in other countries. And, on top of the food and all the arcades and all these anime things and Japanese imports. So it's a really good time. And the one in Mexico City here is the biggest one I've been to. It's 5 floors. So I was there a long while. And this guy has some NES, some N64 stuff. At one point, I couldn't look through it all because it was just so overwhelming. But this is the top floor here. This is where there's all the arcades and the rental units that you can come over and play video games for an hourly rate. So you can see the arcades here, which are pretty involved. They made bigger screens on them and all that, so people can really spend some time here. Some guy playing FIFA, some guy playing Grand Theft Auto. So it's pretty diverse when it comes to the type of video games.
And now I'm gonna meet up with a Facebook group guy from CDMX, Ciudad de Mexico. So he's got a few games he's gonna show me. So I'm gonna go meet him at the Plaza de Bellas Artes train station. So let's go. So we're in the Guerrero neighborhood of Mexico City. We're gonna visit the punk rock flea market. It's called El Chopo. Not planning on finding any games or anything like that. I just wanted to visit this flea market because it's the most famous punk rock flea market.
El Tianguis Cultural del Chopo is one of the biggest punk rock flea markets in the world. It's one of the most popular and most famous flea markets in the world when it comes to selling punk rock items, music, records, CDs, and the underground scene, clothing and whatnot. You can get a tattoo here. You can get pierced here. There's over 300 vendors, 300 plus vendors. And there's live music on certain days. A lot of touring bands come through here and they play at El Chopo when they play in Mexico City. Those underground punk bands that can't find a gig when they're passing through always end up here, which is it makes for a great party scene. A lot of records, a lot of bootleg CDs. I'm gonna go through it because I do listen to punk rock music. I listen to ska music. I actually collect Specials vinyl, the Specials vinyl. So just wanted to show you guys this flea market. They don't sell video games or anything like that, but if you're into punk music and you're in Mexico City, this should be at the top of your list. It's called El Chopo. It's a flea market on Saturday mornings, and it's in the Guerrero neighborhood. And it's one of the many things that you can do here in Mexico City. But for now, let's go through all the finds that I found during this trip. So to start off, I found Waterworld for Virtual Boy. That's a pretty rare game. I found that for $64, 1,200 pesos. I also have the Tamagotchi, the Pokemon Pikachu Tamagotchi, worth about $30. And I got that. I got Killer Instinct Gold for N64. Got that for a friend. The same stand, I got the Snoopy Tennis. I switched that out for the Casio one because I collect more, Nintendo Game & Watch. Beetlejuice for NES. Those 4 items for $85. I thought that was a great price, great deal. I got the Mario with the converter for Famicom to NES. It's a great condition. That same stand, I got the 8-in-1. This isn't the 190-in-1. It's a little less valuable. And then I got Conan for NES. Got that all for 800 pesos, about $42. And from the guy I was gonna meet at the subway, I couldn't film him, but I got River City Ransom for NES and Death Race. That's a great title. I got those two for 800 pesos, $42. And as for Mexico City, I thought I did a great job. I didn't even scratch the surface on this city, guys. I highly recommend coming. I will be back. I'm gonna hit all the flea markets I didn't hit, and I'll see you guys next time, whether it's this country or another.